So I also got this one. I actually picked this up at a little thrift store. Well, here, I'll show you the this is the case for it. Olympia manual, as is, $30. The case is, you know, it's rusty and gross, but I'll get it cleaned up. It has the case, it's metal. So this is like a cool burgundy color. I really do like, you know, these, and it'll probably, I mean, it's really obviously really dirty and everything, but you know how this old paint is. A lot of times you can get it nice again. The keys are covered in some sort of fungus and gross, but it is coming off. And I mean, you know, even though it's super dirty and everything, you know, German made, so these things, like, you can see how like filthy and gross it is, but still fully functional. So this will probably go for several hundred. I don't know, probably 300 or 400. Okay, so I got this box, and I got a typewriter in here, and so I was gonna, you know, I got it all in pieces. We'll go ahead and get into this box. So I've already kind of resurfaced the platen. It looked like it had a crack in it, and I wanted to see if it really did. It's kind of hard to find. You can see that the diameter of this platen is really thin, and I believe this is a metal core underneath here. This machine's from the 50s. This is Olympia. Okay, so that's already taken care of. So I'm just gonna lay this stuff out here. You know, my miscellaneous parts in here. This is there's two little washers on here, so I just threw a piece of tape on there just to keep them from falling off. You know, obviously this is, it goes through the inside of the platen. So this is, there's a little bit of rust right here. I have cleaned this one time, but you know, it just really didn't do that good of a job. It's a matte finish, so you really like that polishing compound turtle wax that I like to use so much. Doesn't work on it. So I don't think, like, none of these have any flat edges, so I don't think I want to go through the time of replacing them. And this kind of goes underneath the platen and just kind of helps roll the paper through. But I am going to clean it. And this is just one of the carriage end caps, kind of with the screws in there, so I just got those set out. Here you can see this is, you know, this is kind of our clear piece. It needs a little cleaning. It's not too bad. So we'll get that cleaned up. And then this has a little bit of a, I'm not sure if that's whiteout or some sort of paint. There's a good example of, you know, this piece was covered with that chrome trim, and you can see that edge of just the change in the color right there. So we're going to try and restore some of this paint finish. This one's in actually really nice condition, because this actually slides down kind of this way behind the keyboard, and so it's just kind of a trim piece. And, you know, just didn't get a lot of dirt and whatever. And I have already started working on this, so you can kind of see it's kind of flat there. But I have cleaned this up. Both of these ends, you know, just from people's hands kind of resting there as they're typing, they had gotten really dirty. But I've got them pretty clean. Now there's a little bit more rust right there, you can kind of see. But I'm not going to try and repaint it or anything. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But this is, I think you can see this here. Yeah, this is a pretty good example of, you know, what I've kind of restored and cleaned up here. And then you can see, even though it's a matte finish, it kind of has a little bit of a shine to it now. Whereas over here, it's just really blasé and dull looking. And so we'll go through that and get that all cleaned up, and I'll show you how we're gonna restore that. Three-step process, like everything. And then underneath here's our machine. Now I have, I'll go ahead and pull this out of the box. I have already, like, you know, it's basically in pieces now, so, or, you know, apart. This is just our chassis, no body on here. And I have run it through. You know, I sprayed it down. I still need to work on the keys. You can see the keys there. They've got like a fungus, kind of a white, you know, almost a powdery looking. So that's not too bad to get off. It's not like it's stained or anything like that. So it's not really going to function like this because of, you know, how we're resting. But well, anyway, it kind of functions. But so this thing was really dirty. When I got it, I picked it up at a so I've got a lot of still, and there honestly is a lot of rust, like kind of pitting or just rust spots. It obviously was subject to some moisture, or, you know, being in Oregon, it's a humid climate, so, you know, who knows, it could have been stored out in the garage. I picked it up at a thrift store. It does have a case. The case is pretty rough too, though, but we're going to do what we can to get it looking good. These little Olympias, they're doing really well. It's Olympia Deluxe, but really would be called an SM3 from the 50s, and the SM line went all the way, you know, up into the 70s, and shoot, probably even the 80s. But I don't know much about the late model Olympias, but into the 70s would have been like a SM9, and they're just nice machines. So we're going to get started here, and we've got kind of our parts laid out. We're all done with this now, so we'll just hang on to this. I picked this up at the auto parts store. Sometimes this is a Duralast. You know, you can see here it's windshield washer hose slash vacuum tubing. But I also buy the Master Pro brand, and this one just had a thicker wall, even though the inside dimension was still that 732 or 5.5 millimeters. You know, this one's a much thicker, and so it just didn't have the flex that this thinner wall did as far as sliding over. And I couldn't find any that was straight like 7. I found some almost 8 millimeter, but even then it was like a thicker hose. And like here I have one that's you know, this is a 9.5 millimeter or 3/8. But I'll buy these. You know, this one only came in a 2 feet length. But this one's got a 6 foot length, so these will last quite a while because I'm only using, you know, little 1/2 inch pieces, or maybe 3/4 of an inch at the most piece each time. And those will work for like these. You know, if I was going to replace these, if they had flat spots, they almost look like a flat spot, but it's just kind of a mark. So I'm probably just going to use a wet dry sander. I'll probably hook this up to my drill, and then I can just kind of hit this with a sanding block, and just clean them up and get all that that layer of filth off of there. It's pretty much the same way that we do with the platen when we're just trying to clean it. Ideally, it'd be nice to put new rubber on the platen, but it's not as readily available as one might think in the sizes we need for our typewriters. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get started here. Alright, so still working on this Olympia. I had some mold on the keys. I tried this plastics, McGuire's, which actually works really good on a lot of stuff. But then I realized that the keys were actually seemed to be Bakelite, so I switched over to the Mother's aluminum polish, Magan aluminum polish by Mother's. It does really nice on Bakelite. So I've got the body pretty well cleaned up. I've gone through like kind of with some Q-tips, long Q-tips and whatever, to just get dirt and grime out of the hard to reach places. I still need to do a little bit on the keys, but right now we're going to switch over and we're going to work on cleaning the hood here. I do have an area of rust right here, and it's just kind of dingy looking. So we're just going to go with our old standby glass cleaner, Windex type product, and a toothbrush, and that'll do a pretty good job on getting the dirt off of here. So we'll do that first, and then I'll show you a little trick to get some nice shine out of it. Kind of bring some shine back to the paint. And it is a flat or like matte finish, so a lot of like polishes won't really do a whole lot to it. But I will show you what will work. I just want to make sure and get all the surface dirt and grime off of here. And you can see, like as I'm using the toothbrush here, you can kind of see it's getting a little bit grungy, so you can tell it is picking up some dirt. I did already clean this one time. I believe I used just a solution of Simply Green, like probably a 20-to-1, pretty mild. Because I mean, Windex or Windex type products, they do, some of them have ammonia, and it can have an adverse effect on what you're cleaning. All right, let's see how this is doing. All right, there we go. So you can see it's pulling up some dirt and grime there. That's good. I'll hit this with some air, just with some compressed air to help dry it off. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of grime off of that thing, even though, like I said, I did already run this thing through the wringer once with some cleaning and with a toothbrush. So this is kind of a second cleaning, I guess you'd say. But and you really notice like how flat the paint is when he's doing this. All right, so we'll get all that moisture, all that liquid out of there. It is possible to take the trim off. Like you can see here, they're just little tabs. If you were needing to some reason take the trim off, you can do it. I don't need to do it right now. I would think that the main reasons would be if you were going to repaint it. But as far as for just cleaning like this, I can come in pretty tight on all these edges, you know, with something like this. Hey now. With something like this guy, and cut into the, sorry, we're having some, you know, you can use this and a rag and cleaner, and you can cut a nice line there. So I don't see a need, unless you're going to repaint, to take that off. Okay, so let's hit this with, we'll just give it a touch of water. I'm just trying to basically rinse it. You know, we've kind of cleaned it now, so now we're going to rinse it off. And that is important for where we're headed now. Next, we just don't want any soap residue on there, or ammonia residue, chemicals, anything. So basically what we're saying at this point is we're calling this thing good on being clean, like clean of dirt and debris. And I think it is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it one more time with some air, just to, because there's, you know, water stuck behind all these little areas. There goes the air compressor. Okay, my apologies for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some soy machine oil, and we're just going to put this on here and spread it around with the finger. Probably went a little heavy right here, but that's all right. We'll mop it up. As I said, we got that area of rust right there. So I'm kind of just working this into the metal, into the paint, and then just trying to pull up whatever I can, like, and spread it around. I did go a little heavy, but what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just pull this off. So we'll kind of just pick up the excess right there. And now I just need to do a little bit. Another way you can do it is if you can just put a little bit on your fingers like this, just like you're spreading some lotion or whatever. And we're just going to hit that like that. And this will bring out a little bit of a little shine in the paint. It's still going to have that kind of flat look to it. You know, it's not like a mirror image, but it's definitely looks much nicer now. I'll go ahead and dry it up. And not going to hurt to hit a little bit of air. Just real lightly. So now you can maybe see, like this piece has not been done, and you can see, because there is a piece of trim that goes over this, you can see how much brighter this little edge is. Now we've got this here. So it is a darker shade. It's still that darker shade, but it has a little bit of a sheen to it or whatever. It just looks a little bit nicer than how this looks. And where that rust is, like, it is there. There are kind of some darker spots, but it's not really jumping out at you. And I wouldn't care too much, other than this is like an iconic piece, and in this color they can bring $400 or $500 in good working condition. So we're gonna spend a little bit of time on this one and get it just right. Okay, so I have cleaned using the Windex and a toothbrush. I've gone through and cleaned all the side panels of this typewriter. And then we're going to just do the same thing like with the, this is just sewing machine oil, just a real high viscosity oil. And you can either like dump it directly on there we go. Or you can kind of just put it on your fingers. We're just going to spread it around. And you'll see as we do that it really, even though this is a matte finish, this will kind of help brighten it up. Try and just do as best we can to spread that around. And then we'll go back over it with a rag, you know, to just pick up any excess. This actually works pretty good for cleaning old sewing machines as well. Like, it's actually kind of the preferred method for old sewing machines. The good thing about the oil is that, like, there's nothing in it that's going to like break down the finish or be detrimental to the, you know, moving parts of the typewriter. So it's a really actually a pretty nice little cleaner here. And you really just got to kind of work it around and try and get it spread around. It doesn't take a whole lot. It just takes a little bit of time here to kind of get it spread evenly. And then once we do that, we'll go back over it with a rag to get any excess oil off of there. So I'll go ahead and do this and then we'll move on. Alright, so still working on this Olympia. I had some mold on the keys. I tried this plastics, McGuire's, which actually works really good on a lot of stuff. But then I realized that the keys were actually seemed to be Bakelite, so I switched over to the Mother's aluminum polish, Magan aluminum polish by Mother's. It does really nice on Bakelite. So I've got the body pretty well cleaned up. I've gone through like kind of with some Q-tips, long Q-tips and whatever, to just get dirt and grime out of the hard to reach places. I still need to do a little bit on the keys, but right now we're going to switch over and we're going to work on cleaning the hood here. I do have an area of rust right here, and it's just kind of dingy looking. So we're just going to go with our old standby glass cleaner, Windex type product, and a toothbrush, and that'll do a pretty good job on getting the dirt off of here. So we'll do that first, and then I'll show you a little trick to get some nice shine out of it. I'm just doing this. All right, so we'll get all that moisture, all that liquid out of there. You know, with something like this. Hey now, with something like this guy, and cut into the. Sorry, we're having some. You know, you can use this and a rag and cleaner, and you can cut a nice line there. So, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take some soy machine oil, and we're just going to put this on here and spread it around with the finger. Probably went a little heavy right here, but that's all right. We'll mop it up. As I said, we got that area of rust right there. So I'm kind of just working this into the metal, into the paint, and then just trying to pull up whatever I can, like, and spread it around. I did go a little heavy, but what we'll go ahead and do is we'll just pull this off. So we'll kind of just pick up the excess right there. Okay, as I already said, these are paper feed rollers. Going to try and just clean them up a little bit. This is 1000 wet dry. This is like automotive sanding block. Just trying to clean them up a little bit. Let's see how that did. Oh yeah. Pretty dirty. Alright, so I just took this up to the drill and just hit it with my sanding block. 91% alcohol. I got this off Amazon, and I keep it in this little container here, and then when I need to dip some in, you know, get a Q-tip, and this is going to clean all the just the ink and the grime off of here, but because it's alcohol, it evaporates really quickly. So you don't have to worry about it gumming up your stuff. Now in some cases you'll want to use this to clean, and then the after effect will be, you might need to then oil, you know, because it'll clean oil off of an area as well, which is fine sometimes, but you might need to re-lubricate the area after cleaning it. And this is just 2 keys. Look at that. Just the arms of 2 keys. There we go. Nice. So it takes a little bit of time, is what I'm saying. Okay, there we go. So this is like a little three-piece unit here. There's kind of this little tensioner spring here, and then so now I've got to slide this, and what I did on the other one is I put this brass piece inside here, and then I've got my little, and here I've got my little tool. And so let's see, I better set this guy down before I lose him. So now I just got to kind of work this thing on. It's a pretty edge here, because then if I can catch it in the perfect spot, then the edge of the hub there, the brass piece and the little chrome piece, to get it just right. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. This is a good way to cut yourself, so you gotta be careful. But on the upside, this blade is super sharp, so if I do cut myself, it'll be a nice clean cut. Okay, now you can see we do have a name on there where it says, I think it's Duralast, but that'll come off pretty easy. Okay, so now we got to put this thing back on here. So we got this little tensioner piece that needs to go inside there. I got it off this way, so okay, yeah, we go. There we go. Okay, beautiful. All right, well, I got it. Got the body back on. So just kind of slowly piecing it back together. I've got this here, which I've got all cleaned up, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it back on, or at least try.